hello, and welcome to Talking Shit About, a monthly podcast where I, Elizabeth Whipperman, interview someone about something they love, something they hate, something they've been through, or something they just know a lot about, and hopefully by the end we've all learned something. This is part 2 about high school with returning guests Cassie and Krista. If you have not listened to part 1, that's okay, but I recommend you do because it gives a lot more context about our school. Oh no. Oh, Bod, that's not gonna work. You can't be crawling on the keyboard. For those of you who don't know, I just established my studio space and I share it with the cats instead of recording wherever around the house with the dogs. So we have new challenges to the pod. But anyways, we're going to be talking about high school. I also invited my best friend Helen to join us in this conversation. We barely talk about school itself in this episode, which is why I recommend you listen to part 1 if you haven't yet, because that'll give you more context on the size of our school and kind of like what the atmosphere was like. And then in part 2, we are heavy on the relationships. We talk about dating, gender, sexuality, sex, because if you're clutching your pearls, I'm sorry, but teenagers are having sex. That's like a thing. So we talk about that. It is a super fun conversation. I had such a good time. As you can tell, it's a little bit longer than our normal episodes. And I have cut some things out, but I have left it in the video version, which will be available on my Patreon. I had the video edited and then I was like, you know what, I kind of want to tweak it a little bit, make it a little bit nicer, a little fancier. So that will be coming out in the next few weeks. I will post about it on my socials when it's out. So if you want to listen to the like 90% full interview, you can do that on patreon.com/talkingshitabout. If you're a subscriber, you'll be able to see it. Subscriptions are just $5 a month. And then if you don't have $5 a month to spend on the podcast, that's okay. You can also purchase that video itself so you can watch it on your own time and you can watch it again without being a subscriber. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk some shit.
I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I have friends that are firefighters and I know that they use soap.
And she was screaming at me over soup.
Fuck this, I am not ever talking to a Scientologist again. These people are all insane.
I'm putting my bricks in the dumpsters, motherfuckers. Do you see me, bitches? I'm throwing my bricks. And he's just like chucking bricks.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to Talking Shit About. How is everybody doing today?
Very good.
So good. So excited.
Nice. I am here today with Cassie, Krista, and Helen. We all went to middle school and high school together. Helen I met in 6th grade. So real quick, I'm going to have everybody kind of introduce themselves and then we'll talk about how we all became friends. Cassie, would you like to start us off? Tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe your newest life update.
Sure. Which one? I'm Cassie, and it's so good to be back. I am 31, and I'm clinging. I guess all of us are like the same age, but whatever. I'm adding that in. I'm 31, and I live in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm trying to think of like quick definitions of who I am as a person, but it's hard to ignore the most recent one is I just had a baby. So I am a mama, and she's 5 months old. She's a dream. I love it. It's the best. Super hard, super rewarding. But that's like been first and like at the forefront of my identity for a while. So it'll be nice to like dive back into these topics today. Yeah.
Great job. Thank you, Cassie.
Thanks.
You've always been like the responsible friend that has that sort of like motherly instinct. So
yeah.
like, and not in a way that's overbearing or anything. It's like a beautiful, perfect mixture. So I'm super happy for you to be a mom.
I mean, I definitely did passive aggressively try to get you guys to not smoke in high school.
Yeah, but that's fair.
Yeah, I was always like goody two shoes, like good grades, did my best, like the whole nine, and I don't know. So that aspect, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into it, but that just like that interplay with everything we're going to be talking about today is really funny. Just like how that fits in and the contrast and all
And
that.
to your credit, I did not become an issue until you moved away. So it did work for a short amount of time.
Shit. Sorry.
Krista, would you like to go next?
Okay. I am also glad to be back, and I am also 31. I work in medical finance, which is essentially basically the health insurance industry. So I often get a little cranky, but yeah, other than that, laid back and just I'm a low key kind of person, opposite of Cassie. So yeah, I'm very excited to get back into the goofs and the gaffs.
Thanks, Krista. All right, Helen, you're up.
I'm Helen. I turned 31 last month, and I am a senior regulatory coordinator for a utility company. It's not sexy, but it's what I do.
Hell yeah.
I work in the environmental field. That's I
We're all sexy.
I do
Yeah.
the opposite.
What was that, Helen?
I do the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah, Helen and I met in sixth grade, became really quick friends. I was like fresh off the boat from living overseas for 3 years, and she was super nice and cool and like weird in the best ways. And then we joined Girl Scout troop and soccer and stuff. So yeah, Helen.
It was fun.
Yeah. So Cassie, you brought up that it might be fun to like kind of talk about how we all sort of came together. Did you want to start us off on that?
Sure. Yeah. I am pretty sure, Helen, were you also in like the same math class? Did all of us have the same math class
I
in
don't think
seventh
Helen was
grade?
there.
I don't know. I think that we did orchestra, but I don't really remember
That's
math
right.
because I was
Yeah.
never good at it. So I probably tried to block out anything to do with math out of my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah. Well, I know, Elizabeth, in, you had to have been in our math class. I'm pretty sure we talked about that
Yeah, we
last time.
talked about
Yeah.
it last
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Krista and I went to elementary school together and technically became besties in second grade, where I believe the famous the story of that is Krista walked up to me and was like, "Do you like Harry Potter?" And I was like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
You know, we hate turfs, but Harry Potter is,
Yeah.
that's
What's
integral to our lore.
she has our money already. What's done is done.
We'll pay reparations elsewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we were really close for that year, and then like just so much is dictated by like what class you are put into, and so she and I didn't have any real like class overlap. I also became a huge weirdo, and she was like, you will deny this maybe, but Krista was for sure like a cool kid and had a ton of friends and that kind of thing, and I had approximately like two. Was a total horse girl, so it's to be expected. But um, then we came back together and we had many classes together, but I'm pretty sure I remember like Miss Edwards' history class in the trailers at our school because it was being renovated. So like half of our classes were in trailers on the asphalt. So yeah, and then it was pretty quick, I think, once she and I reconnected, and we've just been like inseparable ever since then. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I feel like the three of us, editor's note, meant to say four of us, can't do math, plus Catherine, really kind of started to bond in like sophomore, junior year. Or
Yeah.
like, is that kind of when we started to click? Like, I know for me,
Yeah.
like freshman year, I had like a lot of like friends, but we weren't really close. And so like I felt like popular in a way, but then like by the next year I was like, oh shit, like actually those like aren't friendships and I have like my core people and that's
Yeah.
all I
A
really
lot of
need.
rotating through other friend groups, but we all sort of kept orbiting each other. We never like drifted too far apart, I feel like. And then whenever, yeah, around like junior year, whenever we had a little more independence in high school, and whenever you had a car, that
Yeah.
was also when we really like took off. So,
Mhm.
Yeah. Helen, in part one, we all kind of like talked about how we like felt as like friend groups or like our relationships like through high school. Did you have any thoughts you wanted to share on like kind of how you felt your place was in high school?
I felt like I was kind of a freak in high school, and you guys were my best friends like the whole time. And then like Samantha, I was really close with her because I'd known her since like second grade. But I mean, other than that, I feel like people that I was friends with weren't like really friends, but I don't know how to tell people to leave me alone. So I was friendly with them, and they perceived that as me wanting to be friends with them. But I don't know. I just think that I didn't really want to be like around a lot of people, like
Mhm.
ever, unless it was like you three.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like, for me, a lot of my friends were like, especially because I had an older brother, were like 2 grades ahead of me. And so when all of those people graduated, it was kind of like, oh shit, like, there
mm,
goes most of like a friend group, but then also like my ideal dating pool.
Right.
'Cause
And our ideal dating pool, if we're
yeah,
being
yeah. But
honest.
Elizabeth was, yeah, you were. I think we talked about that last episode. You were always around like the hot stoner guys.
Yeah.
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 So,
Yeah, because I've always like, I feel like our school didn't really have like punks or like really goth kids or
No.
anything. So like
yeah.
we were probably like the closest thing, honestly. I'm gonna retract this statement. We'll actually talk about at least one punk person later in this interview, but also this is total metalhead era. Sure, we had plenty of metalheads. Just wanted to clear that up. That was a moment of hubris. Let's carry on. And so like I went to a lot of like shows at like an all ages venue and stuff. And Helen, you were
My
there
dad
too.
thought that I was smoking cigarettes when I was a kid because we would go to Jack's, and we would like you were allowed to smoke inside, and I would come home and my dad was like, I know you've been smoking cigarettes. And I was like, but I really haven't. I was like, I don't even know where to go get cigarettes. Like I'm 14. Like I can't physically go do that. And my mom had to step in and be like, Jeff, they're allowed to people are allowed to smoke inside. Helen's not smoking, like calm down.
Yeah, that was super fun. I remember, I think it was in ninth grade. There was like definitely some tension between the two of us. Like, and I'd started smoking cigarettes and was hanging out with other people who were smoking cigarettes, and you like expressed concern, and I was like, fuck off, or like whatever the fuck I said. I think I probably called you a cunt. Um,
Wouldn't be
so
the first or last person to do it.
but thank you for looking out for me.
I was gonna say I
Um,
got my cigarettes from Beth's brother.
Shouts
me
out.
too.
Shouts out. It was a real one.
So today we really wanted to talk about relationships. That's what we spent most of our time texting about this past week. So I'm gonna kind of open the floor to anyone who would like to start out with. I think maybe we can just kind of like start at the beginning, and if anybody wants to start off talking about their first relationship, what you
Quotes on
consider
that
that
one.
to be. Was there something that wasn't like relationships look so different in middle school, high school compared to like as an adult. So I'd love to hear everybody's kind of first relationship stories or first kiss, kind of whatever really speaks to you as like a core moment.
I'll start because I think a key player in our cast begins, I think, with me. Helen, I forget whenever you and alias Brittany got together. But yeah, my first, well, first of all, I guess we can't glaze over a little bit more of a background. I was kind of a late bloomer as far as crushes went. I don't know, one of my core memories, not to get like a little sad right off the bat, but a girl that I had been friends with in elementary school, that I tried to carry over into middle school and like stick with her. Our lockers were right by the weight room. And we were, I don't know, her and like these other girls were just like ogling at like baseball players or something. I don't know, whoever was in the weight room. And they were like, "Oh my God, those guys are so cute," like talking about him and stuff. And I was like trying to play along, even though I couldn't give less of a shit. And I was like, "Oh yeah, they are." And she was like, she kind of laughed and was like, "Cassie, you don't think that guys are cute. You think that puppies are cute."
Oh.
And I was like, "Blocked," but also, damn. But then, yeah, so I've always been very like selective, I guess, almost like for a period of that portion of my life, I was like, feel like I had to pick like a person to have a crush on just to fit in with like everyone around me. I picked one person who unfortunately has, I'm glad that we didn't end up together. But I had it bad for him for a while. But then my first actual like um thing was a situationship with a guy friend. It was really sketchy because he was dating a girl that I was friends with, and it got really messy. And he ended up being my first kiss in a really cute way, but the context sucked because they still were together, and he kind of knew that I had a thing for him and sort of went for it. But then I, of course, got the backlash, and they stayed together. And then, yeah, so it was kind of messy. Good old Britney Spears, man. I don't know what
And
kind of pull they had.
he was also my first kiss. And when he was dating another one of our friends. And then he dated Helen. What a guy.
God.
What a guy.
He really tried to blast through all of us, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. It's so funny. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was my first. And then like my first like relationship that had a label on it was I was freshly a freshman, and this other person, I don't know, we didn't come up with an alias for them. But another one that was kind of like in common amongst like the four-way Venn diagram that is us. Yeah, just like this person, I heard like a rumor that they were into me, and I had no interest in them, but I was like, I'm in high school now. I should have a boyfriend, right? And so went for it. We dated for 2 days, went nowhere together, did nothing together other than they kind of like just walked me to classes and gave the wettest, grossest kisses ever. And were really kind of like condescending when it came to music and stuff. And just, I don't know. It was very quickly, I think I broke up with them over like MySpace or something, was like, "Hey, I think that this is actually good. We don't need to do this anymore."
We don't need to.
Yeah.
Is this Pearl Jam's Jeremy?
Yes. Yeah.
When she said wettest kiss, I knew exactly who it was.
Oh, huge tongue, wet kiss, just like,
What was that all about?
I don't
Down
know.
the throat,
I don't
down the
know.
throat,
I remember
every time.
at one point I actually was so like, ugh, that I opened my eyes like as they were going in for a kiss, and they were just like dead fish. It was so like, I don't know. It was same person that like we're walking along and I already was over it. This was like hour 36 and I was like, "Get me out of here." And they stopped me and were like, "Let me just wait. I just want to look at you. Just let me look at you." I'm like late to class. And I was like, What do you want?" And they were like, "Your eyes, they just hypnotize. They're so
Your green eyes.
sexy." Yeah, and I was like, "They're blue." And then just kept walking. Also, tried to tell me that he was like, "You know that your name is a Beatles song?" And I was like, "I don't think it is." They were like, "Yeah, no, it's like a deep cut, like a B-side. It's a Beatles song, Cassie." And I was like, "I really don't think that that's right." What do I know though? So, sorry, yeah, that took up like, I talked a lot. Someone else go.
Helen, you made a face. Does that ring any bells as a Beatles song? Because we were
I
like
don't-
Beatles hardcore.
I don't know if that is a Beatles song.
Hold on.
It's definitely not one that I've heard. But I'm not gonna say no because
Hmm.
I don't want to. I don't
To
want
be fair, I've never really looked it up. That just sounded like so
It's like,
incorrect to me.
no.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so fuck AI, but the AI overview says there's no, that doesn't exist, and I don't see anything on Google, so
Yeah.
I don't think that's real.
Yeah. I don't know if they were like, this will really score some points, like making me feel special or something, but I was like, you're wrong.
Or
Did you
maybe
feel
they just
special?
got confused about the artist, because, like, I'm sure there's a
Maybe.
Cassie song.
Sure. There is by Flyleaf. Maybe that's what they meant. Flyleaf
I
song.
always get those two confused.
I know. It's about
Beatles and
Columbine.
Flyleaf.
And she does not denounce her religion, so she gets unalived. That's what the song's about.
I'll say what you want. Flyleaf fucking slaps.
Yeah, they did. All around me? Come on. Come on. So,
I almost considered going back to church. Almost.
they'll get you.
The church people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flyleaf. I mean, Christian rock music in general. But anyway.
Anyway.
Helen, when did you and Pearl Jam Jeremy, what was that kind of
I think
what
it
happened
was
there?
like right at the beginning of ninth grade.
What,
It was my first kiss. It was horrible.
I bet you and I were like back to back.
Probably. Maybe even at the same time. Who knows?
Maybe. Oh, would love that.
I know. My first three-way and I didn't even know about it. No, but they kissed me and it was really disgusting. Like their lips were on top of my lips. Like I feel like my mouth was inside
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
mouth. And the tongue was all the way down my throat. Mind you, I have the worst gag reflex. I can't brush my teeth without almost throwing up on a daily basis. So it was pretty bad. Has the audacity to pull away and say, that was good, right? In fact, it almost made me never want to kiss anyone again because I thought that's how it was supposed to be all the time.
Mhm.
That lasted about a month. Had the audacity to tell me, you got an old people name, you know that, right? No, I haven't heard that one before. I'm literally named after my great grandmother. Of course, it's an old people name. Like, get creative, please. And I think that was my last straw. And I just like can't do this. Sorry. But then I think they dumped me
Wow.
because I spoke up.
You will not be silenced.
No.
God forbid a woman uses her voice.
Yeah.
Thank
God
you.
forbid.
So we had talked about Britney and Pearl Jam's Jeremy. So they made the round with you guys, and there was always a part of me, like I had no interest in dating either of them, but for some reason, like I thrive on external validation, and so the fact that they weren't like trying to go after me was like upsetting. However, like I'm super autistic, it turns out, so they very well could have, and I just
Mhm.
didn't notice.
Oh, I'm sure that they did. Yeah.
But the memory that really stands out to me with Pearl Jam's Jeremy is they came over to my house one time, and the reason why we're calling them Pearl Jam's Jeremy is because they had dinner with my family, and that is all they talked about was the music video for Pearl Jam's Journey. To the point where my stepdad at the time was calling them like Jeremy. But the memory that like really stood out in my mind of like, oh, this would never work, or just totally like, you know, in The Sims, like when it has like the negative like emotion thing, when it has like the two people and it goes like da da da. That like happened IRL when we were coloring a fuzzy poster with blacklight paint, and they grabbed one of the tubes and just like did like squiggly lines over the entire poster, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, it's abstract. And I'm like, it is
Abstract.
it's a fucking fuzzy you color in the lines. And like ever since then, like I don't let people color in my fucking coloring books. Like I am
Also a fuzzy poster. That stuff's getting everywhere.
yeah,
Little like fuzzy fibers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
just they tried so hard to be like esoteric and just like so deep, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Their skinny jeans just like cut off all circulation, I think.
High school is a blur for a lot of things, but their pants are pretty vivid
Yep.
in my mind. It's like a staple of
Also,
their
the swoop
personality.
of the hair
Yeah.
defied gravity. Just
Yes.
there was the classic like
All the fucking time. All
Yeah.
the time. Just
All
all
the
the
time.
time.
Fucking Justin Bieber, dude.
I also, to add more context to this, we went to a huge school. The fact that all of this is overlapping amongst the four of us is pretty nuts. Like,
Mhm.
there were almost 700 people in our class,
Mm-hmm.
but we couldn't escape. None of us could escape.
I know. It's funny because we talked on the last episode about how we didn't really have like a specific lane, but I guess with all the overlap, maybe we did. I don't know what you would classify our section as, but it was
Yeah.
something.
We had our own lane.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of esoteric and deep, I think there was maybe like a very small handful of people at our school who actually were. But one of them was Hayden. Rest in peace, Hayden. Hayden was
Mhm.
actually my first boyfriend. We
Really?
dated for a few days in middle school. And I was like all about it because they were super into music and like super smart and super cool, but they were doing stuff that like I wasn't quite into, and so we split it off. Nothing like against that, like him as a person or anything like that. Like no bad feelings, nothing, but just into stuff that I wasn't into. But yeah, I just want to give a moment for Hayden because Hayden was
Yeah.
like, Hayden was the shit.
Yeah. You know, when you said there weren't really any true punks at our school, I thought of Hayden immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Hayden.
one, but I didn't want
Yeah.
to bring them up just in case. But yeah, no, they
Like,
were amazing.
In
Um,
7th grade, he had like messy punk hair, wore a leather jacket with buttons on it. And
Yeah.
I just remember, like, even at that age, we're like, what, 12, 13? And I was like, oh, that guy's cool.
Yeah.
That guy is cool.
Mhm.
Like the most genuine, like fuck the system person ever. Like in a progressive, like productive.
In a genuine way.
Yeah.
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 Really cool.
Yeah, I remember when we started dating, back on MySpace days, I had sent him a message and it was a GIF that said like it was like pink sparkly writing and it said like P.S. I love you. And I sent it to him and then he didn't respond, but I could like see that he was still online, and so I was like panicking and I was like texting him. I was like, I'm so sorry if I like overstepped, like oh my god, like I'm so sorry if you weren't ready for that. And he's like, no, I just like stepped away from the computer, it's chill. I was like, okay. But ye old days.
Yeah. Good old MySpace. I think that's like later topics of just like how did social media like play a role, whatever. And I got stuff to say about MySpace.
I want to open the floor. Was there anything else that kind of like came to mind while you guys were talking?
Okay, so I really like didn't date anybody first other than Pearl Jam's Jeremy for 2 days, and then there was this really sweet guy. This was like a perfect moment of like I have a crush on this person. Oh my gosh, and they like me back. We were on track together. I can't think of a nickname for them, but maybe we can bleep it. I don't know. But do you guys remember him? Possibly. I know Krista does.
Oh yeah.
He's really sweet
Yeah.
and he's like really cute. He's very talented.
So cute.
And yeah,
So cute.
like buff just at 15 or however old we were. And yeah, we were doing track together. And it was such a sweet little like, oh my gosh, I like that person and they like me back. And then he asked me out. We went to the movies. We saw Up in theaters. Old. And he was just the sweetest. And I remember he like learned he could like play guitar really well. And he was like, what are your favorite songs? What do you want me to play? And I could think of nothing. I was just like, Here Comes the Sun. And he would be in like the band hallway with all the guitar like kids and everything in the morning, and I would go and visit him. And he learned that song for me. But then he also learned on like a 12-string guitar, You Had Me at Hello, my favorite A Day to Remember song. That talk about high school. Oh my God, that was like my era of ADTR. It's a song that requires two guitars and he was able to play it on one, and it was the most beautiful thing. But by then, I think we were like together maybe a month, and my anxiety was like crashing in around me, and I was like so scared to be in a relationship and like what that actually meant. So he learned that for me, and then like the next week I called him and broke up with him over the phone. I felt so bad. That's like my husband aside, the grandest gesture anyone has ever done to me. Sorry, Joey. I'm sure there was also something in there that you did at one point too. But like, yeah.
I'm sure there was something.
But that was also like I was just so nervous and didn't understand a lot about myself and where that anxiety was coming from. I don't even know if I had the word for like anxiety and that feeling in my body and like why I was so nervous about it. Because all signs were like, yeah, this is such a good thing. Like, why are you not pursuing this? But I was just so scared. And so, yeah, felt really bad and ducked him in the hallways for like the rest of my time at school. Then he dated for a long time though, so he was fine. And then senior year, I started dating the one, the only, Joey Lest. Which I think just barely qualifies for high school. He was a year above us, and we actually met. Well, Krista and him had oceanography together, and they sat next to each other. And so I was hanging out with her before class, and he was like, "Can you get out of my seat?" Or he was like super rude to me or something, and was just like, "Can you leave?" And she had like talked him up, like, "He's so funny, oh my gosh!" Like, and he was just like. It's just so blunt and just like what the fuck, can you move?
Yeah.
But then I forget, I guess it was later it had to have been that same year maybe, or like the next year. Beth, your Halloween party was when we like crossed paths again, and he just was like, I gotta get Cassie's number, and just like, remember he like, didn't he try to like rearrange where everyone was sitting so he could like sit next to me around the bonfire or something? And I sat on Krista's lap instead and was like, fuck you.
Yeah.
So then against all odds, I don't know if you gave him my number. Someone did.
Well, I did because I don't know if Joey knows this. I know he's listening because he's probably super excited for this. I had a crush on Joey first. Mm-hmm. And then he like made some comment about you. So I was like, like fucking with both of you and like gave you his number. But you guys like, it was it was perfect. Like it was so
opposite. Perfect. Like and there's no universe, and like spoiler alert, we're not together anymore. There's no universe where like that would have, I don't think we would have like wound up together. But like for the time, we just like clicked, and it was so unexpected, and we were just like couldn't be more different. But yeah, and then we dated for a long time, like all through college. So if we ever get into like college and relationships, mine's going to be pretty boring because that's like that was it. It was just me and him. I mean, not in a bad way, it was really great, but yeah.
Shout out to Joey.
Yeah, shouts out. Can't close that chapter of like that topic without mentioning him. So
yeah. And Joey was really good friends. I haven't asked this person if I could say their name, but I'm just gonna say their first name. I think it's fine. I might cut it out later. But it was my first kiss.
What?
Yeah.
What? Oh, I forgot about that. Was it cute?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to remember we were at a football game because that's like what you did. You just went to football games. You didn't actually watch football. You just went for like the socialness and the snacks. And yeah, we were like with a group of people and everyone was like pressuring us to kiss. And then we like did a really quick smooch, like really fast. But everybody was like watching the game, so they didn't see it. So we had to do it again. But it was like very sweet and like, yeah. It was like a special. Yeah, we dated. I broke up with him for some reason. I did that a lot. Of just like, I don't know how to deal with my emotions, so I'm just gonna like break this off and just like put this in a compartment in my brain and just move right along. It's a coping mechanism that I still probably haven't gotten rid of. But anyways, yeah, he was like total sweetheart. And he got married too, and I'm like super happy for him.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It makes me super happy when I see like old friends and stuff getting married and being happy.
It's with a human, right? He got married to a human. not a peanut butter container.
And she looks like a very oh.
Leave that in. Leave that in.
We will, but we're gonna cut out his name, I guess, just in case.
I'm so sorry.
No, oh my god, dude.
Is that where Smucker Fucker came from?
Yes.
To this day, there is no better nickname than Smucker.
Yeah, that was my first kiss.
Beth kissed the Smucker Fucker.
Oh
I'm
my
so
God.
sorry.
Helen,
awesome.
what about who was your first kiss? Oh, was it Pearl Jam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you dated
I dated everyone.
Yeah,
You know,
talk about that.
if it was a boy, I probably dated him. I don't know. I thought I had to have a boyfriend so that people weren't suspicious of me being a lesbian. Turned out no one thought that in the first place. So I just did all of that, I guess, for the lore. I don't know. I like even tried to count how many people, and it was like quite a few. And some of them were just like random. I feel like I didn't even really know them that well, but I like saw them one day and hung out with them. I was like, cool, that was fun. And then like a day later, they were like, do you want to be my girlfriend? I was like, okay, sure. But I also feel like I just wanted someone to like me. And then when I was in college, I came out as bisexual, as every lesbian does, because you need like a little stepping stone, because it doesn't make sense when you have a boyfriend to be like, so I'm gay. People aren't really going to understand that. And then it took me a while to dump him. So, and now I have a fiance who is a human woman, and it's great.
Yay! And we love
Yeah.
Kat.
Me
Love
too.
Kat.
Oh my god.
Yes. Can I ask you like a personal question?
Yeah.
Did you always like know that you were gay, or was it kind of like something you just like had like a feeling but weren't sure what it was?
I think I knew since I was a kid. Well, I do know that I knew since I was a kid. But I don't think I understood like what those emotions were. Because I didn't like, I feel like we had Ellen, you know, as far as gay women went, we had Ellen. Like, I was too young to watch the L Word when I was growing up, but like sometimes I would sneak it like when my parents weren't paying attention. And like I had Tumblr, and of course I type in two girls kissing, you know. But I was like, no, like I think that's pretty, but I'm obviously so clearly straight. And then as I started to get older, I think because I was becoming more and more aware of it, I thought that if I dated a lot of boys, like it could fix me somehow. Because I mean, I had like a lot of gay friends in high school, but I didn't know anyone that was a lesbian. And if you were a lesbian, you were a freak. And I was like, well, I'm already weird. Like, I don't need to be a freak. But I did always know. And I'm glad that I figured it out, because I would be like living a life in hell if I never actually like explored that part of myself or just came to terms with it. I'm a lot happier now. I'm less anxious about everything all the time. Still medicated because that's not going away. But I'm happy.
Yay. Good.
Yeah. So are we all 31 right now?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yes.
Not for long. Clock's ticking for me. I'm gonna be old 32, and that's so rough to say.
The old 32.
Yeah.
32. Yeah, because I wanted to bring that up because, you know, things are much different. Not they're like perfect right now for like LGBTQ youth, but the conversations are like definitely different, and there's a lot more visibility. So I'm glad that that's becoming a thing. But yeah, like thinking back, especially like in the younger years, there were like a couple people that I knew were gay, but like they didn't really like date or anything. Like they just kind of kept to themselves. Yeah, and so the environment was definitely like different back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your question, like just asking about what the I guess queer scene was at like where we went to school, I really couldn't remember one other than like I knew queer people, but it was like you're saying, that's a really good point that I never really saw relationships. Except for also I don't know if we need like maybe we can cut their names or whatever. And
Oh yeah.
Yes.
oh my God. But that's like the one, really the only relationship that I remember. But they also were two like angels sent from above, like
Yes.
so stunning and beautiful and confident. And just like if they had stayed together, I feel like the world would have just imploded. It just
Yeah.
was too perfect. Um, they were so cool.
Yeah, talk
But
about cool artsy people too.
oh my
Like,
God. That did not try at all. They just
mhm.
were. They were so cool. But yeah, I just never really remembered anything like that. And I never really figured out my sexuality until, and I still don't really know what label I'm the most comfortable with. I guess Pam would be the most like accurate, but I'm like, I'm not straight. That's pretty much what I'll say until after high school. But then once I that clicked for me looking back at high school, I was like, oh yeah, duh. Like there were so many girls, not that necessarily I had romantic feelings for these girls that I like would put on pedestals and like have a really close like friendship with, talking about like cycling through other friend groups outside of like my core. But there definitely was this like deeper, more intense, like I really want to be close friends with her kind of thing. And I think one of the reasons why I didn't realize that part of myself until a lot later was I forget where I saw this, but basically it was like I wasn't viewing women the way that like the masculine gaze viewed women. And so it was like because I'm not like, oh, she's so fucking hot, like boobs. I was like, oh, that must not be me. But the way that women are attracted to women or like, whatever, that's so different than just the way that cis het men express attraction. So that was a little tidbit that I had in my notes. It was like that if I had known that and had more of an example, like Helen was saying, then I for sure would have figured out some things a lot earlier. But
It makes things very confusing. Because I'm kind of like in the same boat. I teeter between I guess pan is the best for me also. And like you're saying, like, well, I'm not like constantly lusting after women, so it must not be that big of a deal. But I also know, I mean, some of my first experiences were with, I can't say women because I was a minor also, but you know what I mean. So it's very confusing to try to navigate. Like, I've talked to Cassie before about how it almost feels like sometimes I get like imposter syndrome about it because I'm like, I don't go crazy like all of my guy friends do. So does it really matter? I don't know. I go back and forth. I did go back and forth on it a lot. I know what's up now, but back then I was tough to figure out.
And I think part of it too is just like accepting and like the way it is and not having to like force labels and stuff. Like obviously if some you identify with something that's like beautiful and good, but like also just knowing it's like feelings can be fluid and not everything has to be like a concrete like these are the people that I'm attracted to and these are not, and it's like it can be more fluid than that. Editor's note, when it comes to sexuality, I'm in like pretty much the same exact boat. But anyways, carrying on.
yeah, I was telling Krista it's a miracle that like I'm attracted to anybody. Like it's just, I mean, but beyond like objective, like, oh, that person's like really beautiful. For me to have a connection that goes beyond, and actually like sparks into a relationship is so crazy rare. I mean, only been in two relationships, one with Joey and then with my now husband, Carter. So, it's interesting. It's definitely very like the person, like their identity or whatever does not matter. It's just if I have a connection with you, then I want to pursue it and trust it. So, because they're few and far between for me.
So my first time learning what a lesbian was I was in like or that like women could even like women. I was in like elementary school And my friend and I were like sitting outside during recess, and this guy, well, kid, like was like, "Oh, you guys are lesbians," and my friend started to cry, and I did not know what a lesbian was, but he made my friend cry, so I beat the shit out of him, like scratching him with my nails and just
Hell
like
yeah.
going ham. And then like eventually I learned what it was, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then middle school, so like I was never really like well, I was like attracted to people, I guess, but like was never really interested in like hugging, kissing, like any of that. Like I didn't start to hug boys until like end of middle school. Like I don't know, it was just like weird to me. And I was a huge fan of Tony Hawk Underground 2 for the GameCube. And I had this character, and she had really short hair because like all the hair options sucked in that game, and that one looked best. And then I also heard about Locks for Love, and I was like, oh shit, I can cut off my hair to look like my skater gamer chick, and then I can also donate my hair and be a good person. And so I went to the mall, got my hair cut off, was feeling like super cool, super cute. Was like in my little baggy skater clothes because like I didn't like dressing feminine. And then I get to school and everyone is either like, you are a lesbian or misgendered me on accident or on purpose. Like, especially my brother was like especially relentless at that time. Sometimes I went along with it. Like, some of his friends genuinely thought I was a boy. And then there was one time I was going into the bathroom and one of the principals stopped me and was like, "Hey, you can't go in that bathroom." And I was like, "I'm a girl." And he was like, "Oh, whoa, whoa,
Oh
whoa."
my God.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And so being misgendered as a man for a very long time was like very upsetting. And I was very much like kind of pivoted. Like I still wasn't like super frilly girly stuff, but like I felt compelled to start dressing more feminine, wearing tighter clothes because I did not want to be like misgendered in that way. And now like that I'm in a place in my life where I'm like super comfortable and like have a lot of spare time to think about myself. I'm like I met somebody through work who's non-binary, and they have had top surgery and a hysterectomy, which are two surgeries that I always wanted, but I never, for some reason, associated it with gender. I was just like, I just don't like boobs. I just don't want to have babies, and that's just the way I am. And I think because of like my experiences in middle school of like my relationship with gender, I was very much like, okay, non-binary like isn't an option. That's not me. Like I'm a woman. But then like meeting this person and seeing how just comfortable they were in their bodies and like how fucking cool they were, like they're just like they're one of those people you're just like around them and you're like, I want to know everything about you. And so I think that's really like inspired me to start like embracing that, and like how I expressed it to my husband was toying with the they thems. Um, but I'm just like, I mean, shit is so like all over the place right now, but in generally speaking, I am happy that those conversations, more and more people can start to learn to like express their genuine selves and like
Mhm.
explore gender in that way. And I'm
Yeah.
just glad the times are changing. Just I wish they were changing for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and just your experience in middle school, there's just so much shame around that. And like for what? It just, I don't know.
Yeah, kids are
Kids are
brutal.
so, yeah, they are really,
Fucking
really
suck.
brutal. And like, I mean, I never really had, well, I was, privileged in the sense of, I was thin and tall. But I never really had any sort of like body issues or anything like that. But seeing other people around me become really self-conscious and like start to care a lot about those things, it kind of like radiated onto me of like, oh, should I be caring about that stuff? Like I was telling Krista when we were like thinking about stuff on the pod to talk about, another core memory that I have was, I was in seventh grade and, had my like LL Bean backpack that was like personalized and, like, I guess what you would what other kids must have identified now as like really dorky, just the way that I dressed, like New Balances when they weren't cool, and like the socks like up to the knee almost and like half rolled down, like that whole vibe. And I would pick out my clothes and be like, this is like my favorite shirt. And it was just like a whatever shirt. But there were these girls, I think in our history class, that one day were like, oh, you know what? You're actually kind of pretty. And I was like, thanks. And she was like, yeah, we could totally fix you. And started talking about like, if
Bitch.
you like put on mascara, like I had never worn makeup before. I was reading like American Girl magazines. Like who the hell cares? It just was so, like they were already reading like Tiger Beat and J14, which like side note here, those magazines are terrifying. Why do they exist? I don't understand why. Like,
I had both of them.
yeah, and what is it? M14 or M something was another
Yeah.
one. God, and it was just like trying to get girls to like just be like sucked into this vacuum of like caring about what they looked like in clothes and fashion and like the Jonas Brothers. No offense, Helen, they're great.
Fine.
But like
It literally like
forced
it's
like sexualization almost of like,
it's-
look at these cute boys, and it just like,
training girls to appeal to
Uh-huh.
the male gaze.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I was so not about that. And then, but that conversation, her being like, oh, we could fix you, which I'm sure she was like, she wasn't saying it to be mean, truly. She was like
Mhm.
thinking it was going to be like a, makeover moment or that kind of thing. But I was like, oh, I'm like being perceived and people don't like what I'm doing. So I need to, and then, from there, I started like shopping at Hollister and American Eagle and couldn't afford Abercrombie, but like, it was just, that's just where like a lot of that kind of started of just having this like hum in the background constantly of like, I need to care about how I look. When before it was just like, I just want to wear my favorite things, Now I'm back to that, but yeah, middle school's tough. High school's tough for that kind of thing.
Yes.
So there were a couple stories I was gonna talk about, but we ended up going on like a little break because we had been recording for about an hour. So I'm just gonna put those in here because so content warning, we're gonna talk about eating disorders here for a minute. I developed an eating disorder in middle school because of a book that I encountered. So in middle school, I was totally fine in my body until middle school chorus, and I was sitting down in my chair, and these two girls looked at me and commented on how big my thighs were. Before that, I had never thought about it, never cared. And then shortly after that, I encountered this book that the school was giving away from their book club. They were just like handing out different books to students in general. And I picked up the book Perfect by Natasha Friend. And it is a book about a young girl who develops an eating disorder, specifically bulimia. And before I read this book, I didn't know how to make myself throw up, but this book teaches you how to do that. So I learned how to do that. And the thing that really sticks out in my brain the most about the book that I remember is that the character hates how her thighs rub together. And that in combination with hearing that in that chorus class, like, I fucking hated looking at my thighs. God, I'm like shaking right now. I haven't really addressed this very much, I guess. But yeah, it was brutal. So shout out to the teachers for teaching me how to develop an eating disorder. So yeah, middle school, high school, brutal for body image. Okay, that's it for eating disorder stuff. Back to the podcast. Okay, actually, I want to do an aside. Do you guys want to talk about our prom experiences real quick?
I was hoping we could.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to hear you guys. Mine's boring. Mine's just like,
Yes. I remember like sitting like outside of where the dance floor was. I mean, Alex and I probably drank 26 Dr. Peppers each throughout the duration of prom, and we're just kind of like, and Cassie would come out like every 20 minutes and be like, isn't this just the best day ever? We're like, sure, I'm glad you're having a great time. But Beth, your experience was a little funky, right?
God. So, right before this, back when I was 17, I had a coworker at Subway who was 21, and we dated. A really important note here to any minors, high schoolers that might be listening. I'm not going to tell you not to date somebody older, specifically somebody who, technically speaking, has sex with you as because if someone had told me not to date the person I dated, I would have said fuck off and done it anyways. And I think that's what I told my mom. So she was very cool about it. Thank you, Mom, for handling that with grace. But what I will ask you to do is consider why someone in their 20s, whatever they're in a band, whatever they have tattoos, ignore that. Why aren't they dating people their own age? Why are they going after high schoolers? Think about that. Just consider it. Okay, that's enough lecturing. Back to the interview. And when you brought up Pearl Jam's Jeremy asking if the kiss was good, it reminded me of, so this was the first person I had sex with. And then he asked me, did you owe?
And you were like, oh.
I was like, what? First off, what the fuck does that mean? And secondly, no, I did not. But anyways, he broke up with me over text, super devastating. And then right after this, I started falling for this guy. I'm not going to say his name, but he was super cool, gorgeous, like super artsy, like one of the probably coolest people in our school. And I don't know how I didn't meet him until like senior year. But things started to go really, really fast. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm bad at like setting boundaries, and like it just went really, really fast, and I wasn't prepared for it, and I didn't know how to deal with it. But he had already asked me to prom, and I had already said yes. And so we went together, and so like I spent most of the time, sitting outside, like enjoying the chocolate fountain. I didn't dance, like it was all like grinding to music that I didn't enjoy. It's not my bag. And there was one point where I was just like pretending to be asleep, and he was like cuddling with me. And then Helen, in the yearbook for, I think it was your sister's yearbook, there's like a picture of us, like of us like quote unquote sleeping together, like in the yearbook at prom, and it's like, Beth and so like have a quick nap at prom, and I'm like, oh my god, nobody knows. Our Saul, shout out to our Saul. Our Saul will probably know who I'm talking about. Also, just in the unlikely event that person's listening, I'm so sorry. You deserve better than that. You seem like you're doing really well on social media. I hope your life is going great. Sorry, I don't know how to deal with my emotions.
He was gorgeous too.
Yeah.
I just remember like so the four of us, we were all in the same group that went, and
we got to talk about the pictures.
We do need to talk about the pictures.
Oh my god.
I just remember your date being there, and I was like, what is going on? Like he was so cool, but like it was so out of place for like the dynamic we had, and we're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, because we're all out there like making dinosaur noises and stuff, and he's just like standing there like, what the fuck is happening?
This like chiseled, like beautiful man, just like
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went with a very good friend of mine who I've not talked to in a long time. I went out to my car after school one day, and thanks to, I know Cassie and Beth helped, but he had decorated my car and picked wildflowers to give me.
What Krista didn't mention is that when she came out to the flowers and the writing and all that jazz, there was also a fucking parking ticket on her car. So we parked on the street next to the school because the parking lot for the school, you had to pay $200 for a lottery ticket to get a parking spot. And if I remember correctly, you don't get that $200 back if you don't get it. And we are not that level of income. So we parked on the street next to the school. So we all had to learn how to parallel park. So that was handy. But Krista had parked like just barely too close to the stop sign because the street was full. There was no fucking parking. And it's not like it's like a busy street. Like the lady that was giving out tickets that day saw this car that this kid was getting asked to prom, and it was beautiful, and decided to give her a fucking ticket. Like, she could have given her a warning. Like, I'm still really worked up about this. But yeah, I wanted to include that. If Chris doesn't want it in here, she'll let me know. But yeah, fuck that lady, dude.
And I was like, oh, because I had like a little like friend crush on him, I guess. So I was like super excited, and he did great, you know, coming for the pictures and stuff, and his shade of red matched my dress perfectly. And then we went to dinner, and his ex-girlfriend was there with her new boyfriend.
Mhm.
And he was devastated. And
Shut down.
yeah, he really did. And he did the absolute best that he could. And I remember like we had dinner, and then we went to the actual dance, and I told him, he was bummed out, and I said, you're off the hook. If you don't want to be here, I'm not going to force you to be here. Like, please do whatever you need to do to have a good night. And he did end up leaving, and he felt terrible. Oh my God, that was gut wrenching to see. He was all excited and having a good time with us, and then saw her.
Yeah.
And
really
it was
sad.
like, meow.
Because they had been together for a while in high school terms.
Yeah.
Like they were, and they seemed like a match that made a lot of sense. But
yeah.
It was a bummer.
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Alex, who I forced to come to prom with us. I forced him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was in the pictures.
Yeah, and my date left. He didn't have a date to begin with, so we just sat outside and overdosed on soda until we were allowed to leave. And I drove. He lives across the street from my mom's house, so we got home and we dapped each other up. Good night, homie. That was it.
I got sick at prom because my dumbass was like, sure, I'll have the seafood soup for dinner before some dancing.
You got sick?
Yeah. My stomach hurt so bad. I basically was like, you need to take me home. And he did. And it was probably the only like super nice thing that he's ever done for me during like the whole time that we were together. Because he was not fucking nice about anything. But he took me home. I literally had to put the seat all the way down and just like lay down while he was driving because I felt like I was either going to throw up everywhere or shit everywhere or both at the same time, probably. And then he was nice enough to actually like take me in the house. He took me up to my room. My mom came out because she didn't know what was going on. And she's like, is everything okay? And I was like, yeah, he's about to leave. But I got really sick and he's just making sure that I'm okay. Cause I could barely stand up too. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I was not well.
Wow.
And that would be the first and last time he ever did anything nice for me.
The bar is in hell.
Literally.
Yeah.
It was so far in hell. And it pissed me off that he wore a white suit. Listen, I get that you want to express yourself, but let's be real. This is the girls' day, okay? Let me fucking shine in your dumbass white suit.
Yeah. The only white suit also.
It didn't even fit him well.
No, it didn't.
Plus, wasn't your dress it was more like a cream, like beigey, like it wasn't white.
No, it was a beige. I love that dress so much.
It was so
cool
beautiful.
dress.
I mean this in a really good way. It was very like FLOTUS. Just very, I don't know. It was
very elegant, very classy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord and
Not
Taylor,
the current, fuck her, but in general the concept.
No, I was always like really picky about like dresses for homecoming and stuff. I would always ask that my parents take me to Lord and Taylor instead of like JCPenney's, because not knocking JCPenney, great store, but I feel like whenever you got your dress from there, someone else was also wearing that dress. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make sure that I had like a very unique dress for prom. So I was like, okay, let's go to Lord and Taylor. And I tried on so many fucking dresses that at one point, I think I gave myself body dysmorphia. Like I already had it, but I think I really gave it to myself too. And then I finally found a dress. I was like, okay, this one, like I feel really pretty in it. Let's do this one. And that motherfucker wears a white fucking suit.
Yeah, he looked so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
You look beautiful.
I just wanted to throw in here real quick that my prom dress was inspired by Katniss Everdeen of the Hunger Games, because I was like, ooh, this looks like fire, like Katniss, and that's why my hair is braided in the photos, which you can see on my socials. Anyways, carrying on.
Remember the picture we took of all of us holding our arms with our corsages?
Yes.
Really sweet.
They got edited to shit.
Oh my God.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
This girl, this model, which she was, to her credit, like went on to be like, she did model for stuff, but she was like, I'm a photographer. It was like a younger friend of a friend that took our pictures, and she did it for like $100 or something, which back then that's like crazy, you know?
Yeah.
And she took all these pictures, but then she edited them, and like our teeth were like blindingly white. It looked like all of us had like a glowing like mouth guard thing or something, and like airbrushed our faces, enhanced, like put makeup on where makeup had not been before. They looked horrible. It was so I forget whose mom. Oh, mine was edited to shit, just like, you know, everything blurred, like the craziest, worst Photoshop you could ever imagine. And I was like, hey, these are a lot. Can we just have the originals? And she was like, I actually can't release those because they don't reflect my best work. And I was like, but your work is bad. So I paid you. Can you please give it? It was a whole thing. She like would not. She's like, well, I think I deleted them. I might have the raw files. I just don't know. Which, like, raw files are just like the original pictures, girl.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think like she never even gave them to me, but she was like, I'll try to edit down, but, like already edited, like saved, whatever. That was a whole. Now I look back on it and it's funny, especially just like looking back on our prom experience in general. Just like it was such a clusterfuck in a lot of ways. Like, the pictures kind of added to it, but god damn.
Yeah. God, that was.
Sorry, guys. That was my connection.
No, that was so infuriating. I remember that.
She would
Yeah.
not give them to us. I was like, I don't know what. She's like, but
$100. $100.
my watermark's on these. Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to do you a favor. These suck.
These are hell.
All she did, and we took them in like Beth's backyard. Like it's not like we had to do anything crazy. She just came over. The pictures themselves were fine.
Mhm.
The
And
editing
then
was
just-
horrible.
Yeah.
It's really funny now.
It
It's
is. Yeah,
really
it's very
funny.
funny. Maybe a couple shots on Patreon. We could perhaps for gigs.
So, what did you guys think it meant to be like a good girlfriend or partner when you were in high school versus like now? What do relationships feel like? Or what did you think they were supposed to be compared to now?
I feel like back then I had this idea of needing and wanting to be extremely dependent on my partner. And now I am very opposite of that. Like I really value and cherish my independence. Independence for each of us. Like it really makes me happy where we have a lot of overlap and similarities, but like I love whenever like he's passionate about something and goes and does his own thing and vice versa. Yeah, I remember I probably like that insecurity of just like wanting to have like someone there at all times, just like glued to you. But now I'm like, I don't know. Also, I have a like infant, so now I'm like the idea of personal space and just time to myself is like, oh, it's amazing. But yeah, I guess that's the main distinction I think that I can think of.
Go ahead, Kristen.
No, I was just about to say I don't have a lot to add because I never locked anything down. So, my parents are divorced. They got divorced when I was in high school, and they were always kind of like roommates at best when I was growing up. And yeah, I didn't know how to lock anything down. And I think that kind of molded me into becoming a people pleaser, which probably has carried on into now. But it wasn't working in high school either. So I don't know. I was feeling lost at that time on what I had to do. So
I like have always just like felt the need for like external validation, and like I feel like in the end I just ended up with like the right person, so it all just worked out. But I don't know that I ever grew out of that. Like when we were talking, I like went back to read some messages because we were talking about some really creepy person from high school, and I saw these messages that were like that I had sent to like this group chat, and it was like, oh, I know I just like left so and so and so and so without any explanation, but like I don't understand how my brain works. I just like disconnect and did it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't think I actually ever really changed. um, but as I got older, I just realized that like I didn't really have a good example of what a healthy relationship looks like. And so it just took trial and error of getting through a bunch of really shitty ones to be like, a, you know, figure out my own shit and like my own hangups and insecurities and stuff, but also just finding a partner that actually meshes. Like, I don't, musicians were not it. Like, Gil can play music, but he is not like a musician, and I think that was really important to not date musicians.
Hey, his rendition of Goodbye Horses in karaoke at your wedding that brought me 2 tears. Sure, I had had some wine, but 2 tears.
some
And I
wine.
hug Helen and I'm like, she's married and he's so great. Like that was our first time really ever like meeting him and spending time with him. That is such a core memory to me. Him up on like that balcony,
Mhm.
in your venue, and I was like, he's so wonderful.
Helen, you and one of Catherine's kiddos were that was the only dance I did at my wedding.
Mm.
Oh yeah, and I taught them how to count, but not in a good way. I told them that minion was a number, so they can count to minion. I hope I didn't like. I hope they know now that's not a number. They were cute kids, you know.
Yeah.
Very cute.
So I keep wanting to make sure we talk about this, and we like keep getting close to it and then like going on asides, but we gotta talk about Kermit the Frog.
Oh yeah.
So I'm just gonna like, this isn't even a segue, we're just like jumping in. Yeah, so one of Joey's friends, who I met, I think, in like ninth or 10th grade, was friends with my first kiss, like all sort of in that same friend group. Cute skater boy, a little quiet, but like super goofy, super funny, like hilarious. Super into video games. I fell for that super hard, super fast, as I often did. That was definitely my longest relationship in high school, over a year, sophomore through junior year, I think.
You guys were basically married at that point.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And so like as I mentioned earlier, we're just gonna like, I don't know how much, we might cut some of this out, but we're just gonna like talk and then
It's
we'll
just the
filter it
girls.
out later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't have sex until my like senior year with an older gentleman, because part of it too is like part of my, I think my gender dysphoria is I don't want to be pregnant ever. Like that is not something I've ever had any interest in. Like I love kids, they're great. Pregnancy freaks me the fuck out. And he wanted to have sex, but he would not wear a condom. He would not. And I was like, that is like the one thing. Like I'm willing to do this with you, but you gotta wear a condom. And he was like, no. And his excuse was like, my ex never got pregnant. And then either around the time we were dating or right after we broke up, she ended up getting pregnant as a teenager. And so what we would do instead is we would hang out in the basement and we would get under a blanket and put something on the TV, and then eventually I would get bored and go home. And yeah. You all right, Cassie?
Never knew that. I mean, I'm sure that like, okay, let me caveat this with, I'm sure I have known that at like different moments in time, but like I forgot. I forgot about that. Also, he wouldn't wear condoms.
No.
Nope.
It's like
Cassie,
sex
he
ed
doesn't have
101.
to. If his ex didn't get pregnant, then it's fine.
Oh my God.
And then she got fucking pregnant.
If his new wife,
Oh,
he just got married, God bless. If she gets pregnant, I'm gonna be shocked. Because I same for any, I don't know if this part's gonna whatever. I also dated him, and yeah, he was adamantly against that.
the man
So-
wouldn't take his socks off when you guys were having sex, but he wouldn't wear a condom?
I
Make it
Look.
make sense.
the man wore socks in the sand at the Bahamas.
Stop, I'm gonna throw up. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
In the
Me-
sand?
In the sand. We went to the Bahamas with his family, and we had only been dating for like 6 months, and we were there for a week, and we played Animal Crossing in the room the majority of the time. And I remember like one of the last days, his mom pulled him aside and was like, "We brought Krista all the way to the Bahamas. You're going to the beach." And he was furious because he had to take his shirt off and he had to take his socks off. So poor him. Poor him. I don't have like a, he's a nice guy, he really is, but some stuff I'm like, what's going through, I don't know.
He was not a good boyfriend.
He's not a good boyfriend.
That's
He's-
he
he's
can be a great guy, but not a great boyfriend.
yes, I agree.
Gotta get his wife on the pod. That I'm like fascinated, truly.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be like alternate universe, like I don't know, Kermit and Joey, their wives on. Oh my God, that would
Yeah.
be.
I was
I'm
hanging.
too scared to do that, but that would be interesting.
I'm the only one that's met them both. Joey's wife is very nice.
Mhm.
Kermit's wife wanted nothing to do with me, which is fine. But yeah.
Yeah, I ended up breaking up with him over text. And then like when we graduated, and right before I moved, we kind of started like a fling again. And then I moved across the country and we were still sort of texting. And then my dad passed away. And then Krista, you're making faces, so I'm gonna pass it off to you to give the other
Well-
side of what was happening.
Okay, let me preface this by saying the current Krista would never. I don't know. Okay.
It doesn't matter.
We've talked about it plenty and moved past it. But so we all went our separate ways to college. I dated a guy in college who is literally Satan, and it was a very scary relationship, physically abusive, and it was a nightmare. And I finally semi got free of that. We broke up, but he was still kind of like, I would see his car on campus, and he didn't go to that school, and was kind of like, just because we're not together doesn't mean you're like off the hook, whatever. And I was texting Joey, and Joey was like, "Oh, you should talk to Kermit," or what, and he kind of set it up. And when we did start talking, he never mentioned that, because as far as we knew, you guys had broken up. I remember we went to your house before we all went to college to take pictures together, and he was there, and Cassie and I were like, "The fuck is he doing here?"
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is going on? And then that was it. So I didn't know until years after he and I broke up that you guys had like a thing for a little bit towards the end there. Whatever. But yeah, that all happened very fast because of my relationship with my ex-boyfriend, and I was terrified to be at school. I skipped all my finals to be put on academic probation to come home because I wasn't ready to talk about like what actually happened. And then that's when Kermit and I have to remind myself to call him Kermit. Kermit and I started talking, and it just kind of went from there.
Because that's also when like Joey and I were dating at that point. So that was
Yeah.
also like a connecting
Yeah. Yeah.
thing.
And I don't know, it was such a weird like time. I think I was very emotionally vulnerable at that time, and to go from the ex-boyfriend I had to Kermit, who is very passive. He's very, whatever, everything's fine. Who cares?
Really
That kind of
safe,
thing.
really like
Yeah. Yeah. But like you said, great guy, not the best relationship I've ever had.
man, what a time.
What a time.
Lots of really fond memories, but also like damn.
Damn.
It's like
Yeah.
crazy.
Huge.
Meanwhile, like all of this is so like interwoven between the two of us, and then like you and Helen are off like living your lives, like doing your own thing, figuring shit out, and it's crazy. And then we all found our way back to each other and cleared some shit up.
Yes. My advice for the episode is don't let boys get in between you and your friends.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Or just don't let boys.
Yeah,
Don't
yes.
let boys. No boys.
No boys allowed. Yeah.
No boys. Helen, real quick, I want to oh no, I hear a crying baby. I'm curious about when, like, can we talk about when you and Kat met?
Yeah.
I know it's not like it's
Yeah.
not high school or anything, but we were just talking about how much high school relationships like sucked, and I want to,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. She deserves some time to shine.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. We met on like a lesbian dating app called Her, and we actually like once we met, ended up talking about that, and like we had met up, well, not met up, but like met a lot of the same people on the app, but like not in person. So we had been talking, and we're like, people are fucking weird. Like the lesbians here are weird as fuck. Like they're just in like any kind of dating culture. I feel like initially a lot of people can be super predatory. And that's what drew me a lot to her was that she wasn't. And I also thought she was really hot. And I had slept with a woman like a couple months prior. So I was like, okay, cool. Like I know what I'm doing now. I'm not scared of anything. And so we met up. She asked me if I wanted to go on a date at the country club with her. And I was like, fuck, like that might not work. I was like, yeah, I'll go with you. But in my head, I'm like, oh shit, like she's rich. Like this might not ever work out, but I guess I'll go on a date. It's a gay bar, just called the country club.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an actual country club. And we went and we ended our date like at a different bar that was like a dive bar down the street to watch some of the World Series. And I really liked her. But I was like too scared to tell her. I don't know why I am the way that I am sometimes. But I asked her, I texted her after and I was like, do you want to go out tomorrow? Because the Nats were in the World Series and the final game was the next day. And I was like, I had a fun time with you. Do you want to watch like I think it was either game 6 or game 7. I was like, do you want to watch that with me? And so we went to this Irish dive bar, like in the French Quarter. And actually this woman was like throwing up everywhere. So I helped her go outside, but then she kept telling me how like she needed her keys. And I was like, honey, we're not driving tonight. And like the bartender's like, thank you for helping me because now she has to clean up all this puke. I'm trying to put this woman in a car. And Kat was like, I really like how nice you are to people. And I was like, she had to go. And then the next day after that was Halloween, and I didn't see her that day because she was going to Rocky Horror with some of her friends. So I was just like kind of by myself. I was dressed in like very feminine clothing too that night, walking like in the French Quarter, like outside of my hotel. Someone called me sir. And was like, sorry, ma'am. And I was like, what the fuck? No, but like my life has been so much better like since coming out, but also since I met Kat. It just feels like easy, but I still get butterflies all the time. And I'm still like, are you sure you like me? Because like I could be a handful for sure. Like every time I see her, I'm just like, oh shit, like that's mine. I'm super lucky. And I never felt that way like in high school with anyone, like other than like you guys with my friends, I would feel like that, but like in a different capacity, be like, oh, like these are my people, like I'm super excited to see them. But anytime I had a boyfriend, I was really never excited to see them.
Fair, honestly.
It was kind of like, will you please leave me the fuck alone?
Love that.
Love Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Love Cat.
Yeah, she's awesome. Oh, she hears you guys. She goes,
We're gonna talk about school, I guess, for a second, because this is a high school episode, and actually, this it doesn't even have to be about the educational aspect. It can be like that social aspect as well. But do you feel that high school adequately prepared you for adult life? Personally, I do not.
Yeah, no.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, because I getting out of high school and then going to college was so different. One of the first things I remember was like, oh, no one cares.
Mhm.
Nothing matters, like social structure wise. I feel like the social aspect is the most important thing, or not the most important, but like the loudest thing that demands the most attention from high school. At least when I think back on it. And by senior year, like all of us had kind of found our rhythm and each other, and we were like, we already had reached the like, okay, we pretty much don't care about like, anything else. But college really like hammered that home, and it was like everyone just is like on a level playing field, and there's no like, you don't rank better or worse than another person based on like your popularity. You're just into different stuff and you're in different lanes. So no, I don't think that high school really, I mean, it was of course like, the lore like contributed, but yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I was writing a lot because I know I said this last time, I've done a lot of drugs between high school and now, and so a lot of it is a blur. And I was trying to really think about like what in high school I have carried on, and it's really not a lot. I was thinking like high school is kind of like inspiration for the rest of your life. It doesn't really like, because the things that I really, you know, the stuff that, we're spending time in class thinking about math questions that I don't use any of that math ever. I know some people do, I don't. A lot of biology, things like that. And I just, the things that would have been helpful would be how to do your taxes, what's a mortgage, things like that that just never gets discussed. So high school kind of feels like, okay, just so you know, this is how social interactions might go.
Mhm.
And maybe you'll find a special interest that you want to carry on, but a lot of people don't. And no, it kind of feels like inspiration for life as opposed to preparation for life.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the only thing I still use from high school is Spanish.
Yeah.
I can still read music and play my viola if I want to, but I think the only thing it prepared me for was being able to speak Spanish because it just came really easy to me and I enjoyed it. But I don't think I mean, no, I don't think, I know I hated high school. It was like really bad for me mentally. I was obviously like no one actually comes out of depression, but I could say that I was a lot more depressed as a kid in high school than I am now. And I didn't really even like kind of find who I was until my third year of college because I had gone to ODU for my first year and I had made some friends, but then like one of my really good friends just like stopped talking to me kind of for didn't really give an explanation. And so I lost the friends that I met through her. And then I was really depressed. I almost stayed a second year, and if I had, I would have been roommates with Joey. So
That's
that was kind of
right.
funny. Yeah. But then I went to community college for a year after that, and like that was hell. I was even more depressed. But like once I got to Trinity in DC and I went to school there, I feel like I finally like figured out who I was as a person. And most of the people I was friends with were gay because I was on the soccer team and the softball team. And so everyone that I hung out with was like pretty queer. And if they weren't, they were still kissing girls. And they were just saying that they were straight. And it was like when they say in prison, gay for this day, there were a lot of people at my college like that. But I mean, high school fucking sucked. And some of my best times were just like hanging out with you guys before or after school, or like the 7 minutes that they give you to get to class. And then in like orchestra and Spanish class, because I was pretty much failing everything else. Got a lot of D's as a kid.
Meh.
It's interesting, like, now that I have a child, thinking about what I want their or her school experience to be. And it's just like that context and looking back on high school of like, if she was plucked and put in like what I experienced, I mean, I would be so terrified. It would just be like way too much. So thinking about like alternative schools that are out there, I mean, like there's also like, of course the likelihood that she's neurodivergent in some way, and just like, my husband is, and he talks often about like how he wishes that the system, like he wasn't made to like fit into a system, that the system would have been more flexible to like support and accommodate him as he like who he was as a person, instead of just like, you know, putting him on meds and be like, sit still, like, that kind of thing. It's been very introspective, and like just thinking about that and what, like, oh shit, there are other options. And like maybe at the time, because, our parents were doing their best when we were in high school and just doing what they knew. But knowing now, like a lot of them cost a lot of money, but it's like there are other options and alternative pathways there. And so I never want her to be like pigeonholed and have to like, well, this is just what you have to do because everyone else does it. So just like, go through the motions. But yeah, I said this at the last episode, but I'll say it again. I would do it all over in a heartbeat if it meant meeting you guys, and all of us coming together was just so meant to be. And yeah, you guys made it worth it.
Yeah.
Me too.
I agree.
Everything falls into place.
Mm-hmm. I was, thinking last night, the phrase that gets tossed around all the time is "it gets better," and I was like, does it get better? And my answer is no. But I think you learn to adjust better. I mean, if you think about the world now, I mean, it's a shit show everywhere right now. So does it get better? No. But you adjust better and you cope better and meet friends along the way that, help, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, I think we're going to end it. My dogs are starting to wake up and get riled up, so I think it's probably a sign. Plus, we did like 2 hours, guys. That's pretty sweet.
Whoa.
Yeah. So, Cassie, Krista, Helen, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking shit about our exes and experiences. And it was so lovely to get to catch up with you guys. So, thank you for coming on.
Yay,
For
thank
having
you.
us. Love you guys.
Love
Let's
you
do this again
guys.
Love you
soon, but
guys.
with special interest PowerPoints.
Yes!
God.
9/11.
That is a wrap for this month's episode of Talking Shit About. If you are watching this on Patreon, thank you so much for your support. And if you're just listening, thank you for listening. And you can check out the video and extended version at patreon.com/talking shit about. Holy shit, I just almost used the call signs from my old radio station. I'm like in some sort of weird headspace with that. We are not listening to college radio. We're listening to Talking Shit About. And thank you for doing that. If you want to support the show, again, patreon.com/talking shit about. Other ways you can support the show are to give it a rating, turn on automatic downloads, and share episodes and follow me on social media. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. So again, thank you so much for listening. We'll be back in 2 weeks for a microsode, and then back again next month for another interview. Thanks for listening.